another exciting conversation. This topic today, it's become one that's come pretty dear to my heart because we have a lot of males that are not at the same point as the rest of the community. You know, we have males out there that are doing their thing, and then we have this gap, and we need to try to figure out how do we close this gap and have all of our males operating on the same page. But I have a phenomenal panel today. When I tell you phenomenal, these people are doing some things in the community. So let me start out before I get into my spiel and talking too much. But let me start. You know what? I got a co-host this week, y'all.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I have a co-host.
Finally.
Oh, finally.
Well, thank you, though. Appreciate it.
Kenny, who are you? Who are you?
Kenny.
This is Kenny, y'all.
I'm usually back there pushing buttons.
He push our buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally push our buttons.
I got small salad. So.
Don't believe that, y'all. Don't believe
So,
that. He's the help.
You're right. I'm number 2.
No. Oh.
We swapping today.
We swapping today?
We swapping today.
Y'all, he normally call me the number 2. That's my name.
Well, you know, you're a big number 2.
I'm a big number 2.
Powerful number 2.
Oh. I'm feeling a little something today. All right. So that's Kenny, y'all. But let's get into the real deals here. We got people doing some things. So, Randy and Don. Randy and Don. Y'all tell the people a little about.
Fabulous couple.
I know, y'all.
Thank
you.
Yes, y'all. Did y'all make sure y'all?
We do. We
okay,
do.
Okay.
My name is Randy Williams. I'm a founder of a company called Brand New Black, where we teach young African American kids how to start their own business. And me and my wife recently published a children's book called Landon's Lemonade Stand.
See, y'all told you. Doing some things in the community. Mr. Greg. Now, y'all, his show starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
Y'all make sure you check us out tomorrow
Can't
at
wait.
7 p.m. Beyond the Noise.
Can't wait.
Check it out. It's going to be awesome. I'm telling
taking it to
you.
new heights.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I'm telling
definitely.
you. Greg, go ahead. What you got? What's going on with you?
I'm a little excited about it.
We just kind of did your intro.
I know. Now I don't know itself. I know I'm a little excited about it because I've always been excited about having the opportunity to get past the cliche, to get past the rhetoric, to quit just telling people just overarching topics and think that we run with it. So in between that, trust the process, and in between that, get your grades. There's a path, there's a roadway, and I've got a lot of friends with a lot of experience, and I have experience myself in guiding people down that path to be like, hey, you know, we don't have to play the hope game. We don't have to play the one of the low percentage game. Like there's some guidelines and there's some paths. You just the right people point you in the right direction.
Right.
So we want to get beyond the noise and get to the facts of whatever it is in your heart you're trying to be successful at, be successful at.
All right.
And then, by the way, I own another company. Well, I own a company called Performance Experience. We do sports performance and general fitness, but what we actually do is help kids earn scholarships. And we teach kids how to earn scholarships. So
They're a powerful
we're trying to
parent.
put it all together.
We got some people in the house today. But y'all, let's go ahead and get into this. You know, I did a little research and I found out in America, this was from the 2018 census, we have 161 males in America. Out of that 161,
You said
Million or billion?
I mean million.
Okay.
It says million. What did I say?
It's
When
a
you
short.
say, I was saying, man, we run
Fast.
fast.
That brother
We're nervous now, man.
My energy's kicking in.
I didn't know she did the research. I didn't know that, but okay.
161 million people. Men.
Okay.
Men.
Men folk.
Yeah.
But we only have 121 black males.
121 million?
Million.
All right.
Add a couple zeros.
Yeah, add a couple zeros. That's it. But out of that percentage, Under the age of 18, there's 51% out of that 21 million. 51% are under 18. What's happening to our population? What is happening to our population? And then if we dig a little deeper, as they get older, the percentage diminishes. And it goes over 65, there's only 40% of men. It goes down.
It's 40% of black men in America are 65 years old and older.
Yes, yes. Where if you count all men, it's 46%.
If you count like if they have some black in them.
No, she's saying
So-
all, period.
Period.
So that includes whites and
Whites,
Latinos.
Latinos,
All those,
Asians.
yeah.
But we diminish as we get older.
So that means that women right now are 54% of the population.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that kind
It's
of makes
always
sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because I think
Yeah.
some just maybe 10 years ago it was around 51, 52%.
Right.
You guys have been half the population for a long time.
Yes, we have. But when we go, if we dig a little deeper, and it comes to the age, the average percent, that 51%, it says that the age range is the average of 33 years old versus the average age range of all
Right.
males are 37. We're not living as long.
Mhm.
Well, that's interesting because, you know, I think there was some stuff around the year 2000 where they were actually saying that men are living longer. Well, compared to the 40s, 30s and 40s, you know what I mean? So they're living long, and that's why Congress and Senate was trying to change the age range for Social Security benefits. They
Okay.
was actually trying to push it up to possibly 70 years of age, opposed to 65 where it is now, because we were living long. That's interesting.
Yeah, we may be living longer, but there's not as many. So I'm not sure how that breaks down because it's saying the average age is 33 for
I
black
think
males.
when it comes to men, I think that it's a number of things.
Yeah.
I'll go with black men first.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
think specifically for black men, I think that our diet has a lot to do with it. As far as, you know, our environment, I think that has a lot to do with it. The environment that not only we've been placed in, but that we're comfortable in and that we've been in all this time. And I think when you're thinking about jobs or careers or stuff like that, I think that we have more riskier jobs, more hard laboring careers and stuff like that. You know, you have military men, army, like all those type of things. So I think that those kind of play with the numbers a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. I also believe that, you know, yeah, diet and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, black men are under a tremendous amount of stress.
Yeah.
You know, in the workplace,
Yeah.
in the home, financially, you know, we're under a lot of stress, which causes a whole lot. I mean, so our life expectancy is changing. And that has started changing for black men. You know, a lot of us getting, you know, diabetes and heart attacks and stroke and all those type of things, which are contributing factors to, you know, just the lifestyle and just living in America, period.
Right.
You know, but our quality of life is interesting. Our quality of life has gotten better, but we still maintain it because a lot of us, you know, are making more money. I mean, there's still a whole lot of us that aren't. But if you look at the numbers from where it was in the 50s, you know what I mean, coming out of World War II, you know what I'm saying, through these Eisenhower and, you know, civil rights, we are making a lot more money today.
We are.
So our quality of life has changed, but also what come with that is
But
everything else, those other disparities.
also the simplicity beyond the color is that just people ain't just having as many kids. You're not having as
That's
many
true.
kids
That's
because
true.
you got mom and dad both in the workforce. So instead of having 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 brothers, you
That's
got
true.
2 or 3 brothers.
Or one.
Also, and you got a lot of biracial families now.
Yes.
That's
so
true.
if we're just talking about being a black male and a 90-something% of African American, then that's hard to find in and of itself, and not just in America, but in North America and Canada as well.
Right, right.
So with having less kids and having more biracial kids, you're going to bring that number down, especially at the lower population. Now, because everybody's sitting at home right now, that population might go up in December, January.
It is.
However, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be a little different. But I think if we look beyond the color, I think it's just it's a numerical situation first, and then it's not why is it not so many of us now? It's how long are we lasting when we get it?
Right.
So that's a better question in my opinion.
Okay.
And how long are we lasting, and what is the quality of our life? Do we quantify our lives by education? Is it education now? Or is it, because at one point we were doing trade.
Right.
And we still have a lot of young males that need trade,
Right.
versus going into a specific career saying they need a bachelor's degree, which brings me to only 19% of our African Americans get males.
Males. Okay. So
Males.
women's a lot higher.
No, yes,
Yeah.
males are getting an actual bachelor's degree, and there's only
Well-
7 that go to graduate school.
Well, here's
Wow.
a couple of situations
Okay,
with
go
that. We
ahead,
got to look
go
at
ahead.
some underlying factors.
All
So,
right.
Sports has quite a bit to do with that shift
Mm-hmm.
because in basketball you got one and done.
Right.
Okay,
Mm.
and then in baseball in college, not a lot of black kids play baseball in college. They
Yeah.
end up either going to JUCO and going to the league, or they going to a farm system early.
Right.
Right.
So it's not that we don't qualify to go to school; it's that we kind of bypass school measures sometimes because that's the path we were told earlier in life. A lot of black kids get told, get your grades. That don't really mean nothing until you can get a job if this pro stuff don't work out.
Right.
If the pro stuff work out, then that's your job, and I ain't staying in school. So it's not that they're not smart enough to graduate. It's if I'm good enough to leave as a junior or as a freshman or as a sophomore, freshman or sophomore in basketball and a junior in football, I'm out. So it changes the dynamic. Plus, we're always a minority in state schools unless you at a HBCU.
Right.
So your numbers are always going to look. When we talk about stats, we have to look at the. It's a lot of perception in stats. It's almost like 1% of the less than 1% of the population goes to the NFL. Well,
Right.
that's because less than 1% of the population play American football,
Right.
and only 11 people play at a time.
Right.
And there ain't that many good players out there to be
Right.
playing in the league, and they only take 300 some spots.
Right.
So it's not can you make it, it's how early did you start to fix that skill so you have yourself a better chance.
Okay.
Same thing in school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to school to get a job.
Right.
If somebody's going to give me a better paying job earlier, and there ain't a lot of us going to school anyway, I think I'm going to bypass this school thing and come back because it costs me to go to school.
Right.
It pays me not to. It's a big difference. Right?
Okay, so what you're saying for a male, so this is what I'm hearing for males, because that's one of the topics I wanted to get into.
Mhm.
You going there early. It's more about pay than it is about what passion or
Absolutely not.
not more.
And I'll let you guys speak before I say something.
Okay.
Anybody want to say
So-
something about that?
Go ahead.
I agree with most of
Greg.
what the brother said. Greg.
Mhm.
I agree with most of what Greg said. I kind of look at it from a different point of view, though.
Mhm.
Being an entrepreneur,
Right.
as far as school and things goes like that, I just don't think that a lot of our kids that are coming up now subscribe to the traditional way of living that
Right.
our parents and grandparents told us.
Absolutely.
Right.
The initial plan was go to school, get good grades, go to college so you can get a good job.
Right.
And I'm not sure that
Which
that's
that
the
doesn't exist anymore.
exactly, but I'm not sure that a lot of our youth are subscribing to that
That's true.
idealism and that type of lifestyle. They might not want to live that type of lifestyle, which is fine. I think that we should take better precautions early in the home and in our schools, especially with young black men and women, and we should try to push for more of the entrepreneurship path because we are the creators of everything popular,
Yes.
every culture. We have the most spending power around
Right,
the world. Like
right.
nothing gets sold until we say it's hot. So why aren't we the ones that are selling it?
'Cause
You
we
know
don't
what I'm
know.
saying? Exactly.
But
Right.
but here it's not. You don't learn that in any school.
No.
No,
You don't learn that.
No.
And so what I'm saying is, you're gonna learn. That's a trial and error situation. And I know, speaking from a whole lot of error because of a whole lot of trial. But I was
Guilty.
never pushed.
Guilty, yeah.
I was never pushed in that direction. I just went in that direction.
Right.
But you asked, because you asked the question a minute ago. Ask me again about why did you say what? Why our kids aren't what? It was right before
What was the
you
question?
answered.
You remember the question was?
Because I want to answer.
Oh,
it.
are they taking more of this is what I want to make versus
Mm-hmm.
having a passion for something?
Yeah, it's not pay. What it is
It's not paid.
when you're a young cat, you know, you got people around you. We talking about empowering men, right?
Right.
So when you're a young cat, you got people around you that you aspire to be like, whether they know it or not.
Right.
That's the biggest part of this
Right.
whole thing. So we're watching. Young men do a good job of watching. That's why we don't talk much, because we don't trust nobody. But while we're watching, the most successful people are the ones that get mimicked the most.
Right.
So if I'm watching Michael Jordan and I want to be like Mike, and I'm better than everybody else around me,
Right.
then I want to be like Mike. Not everybody else telling me I'm the next Mike. So school is just a part of the professional
That's-
process.
Right.
In other homes, hey, it ain't real realistic to be trying to go to the NFL, the NBA, or whatever. So if you get that chance, cool, but you're going to graduate because school was at the forefront anyway. Because there are multiple ways for minorities to get in schools other than athletic scholarships.
Right, exactly.
However, you're still a minority. So most of you are athletes, and the better ones leave early and all that other good stuff. So we're in agreement, but at the same time, when we talk about being an entrepreneur, I bet they can start teaching entrepreneur classes in school, and you still gonna have the same people who are gonna decide to do it anyway. Because if somebody told, I own my own business, somebody told me it was how it was gonna play out, I never would have did it.
Right, right. Don, I want to bring you into this. You work with foster kids, right?
Yes.
Now, I have encountered a few foster kids, and each one were quite different. How can we help empower them? Because they're already at a deficiency with, maybe no family, or coming from a home that is chaotic, or a home that's broken, or maybe not even knowing their parents, right? How can we empower them to see beyond their situation?
I think you have to give them a realistic viewpoint, not really sugarcoat things for them. Don't give them the cookie cutter notion of go to school, get a good job, things like that. You have to be realistic with these children, with all children really, with this generation.
Will you do me a favor? What define realistic for me? Because I talk to kids about that all the time, and I'm asking you, I'm not questioning, I'm really asking you, like, what do you mean by realistic?
Know that it's going to be trial and error, that it's going to be hard days, it's going to be, you're not going to know everything off the bat. You're going to have to figure things out, That's being realistic, but still providing encouragement and empowerment
I
at the
think
same
that's
time.
fantastic, because realistic is a position for the generation above us. Like it's try this, but this is more realistic. Try this, but this is more realistic. So what you said makes realism.
So
You know what I'm saying?
we need to show them what life is really about.
Yes.
Right.
We need to show them that it's not going to be perfect. It's not all about sports, because we have a lot of them that think this is my way out. I can play football. I'm good at football.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong
But
with that.
There's no guarantee of that.
Exactly. And you're telling them, but what else can you do, baby? What else do you like
Yeah.
to do?
I think as parents, sometimes we let the fairy tale go on too long.
Yes.
I really
Because it's
believe
easy.
it. Because what everybody has to understand is you're going to be an adult a lot longer than you're going to be a child.
Absolutely.
So, you have to raise your children to be good adults, not good kids. You have to raise them to be responsible, logical thinking
At a
adults.
young age.
So how do you do that?
You just be real with them.
Well,
and you break
if
it.
I could just add, I'm sorry. I didn't
Go
mean to
ahead,
talk,
go
but
ahead.
What I do know, and Greg, you wasn't aware, but this couple right here, what they're doing, I'm just starting with the 5-year-old because that's what we talk about the most.
Yeah.
They wrote a book. You know what I'm saying? Just and helping their children, helping their 5-year-old in
Financial
finances,
literacy.
financial literacy at
Yes.
5. So that's a good solid start.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, if you guys plan on having a series of books as he
course.
evolve in age and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's their method, which we can model after that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, if we want to start our kids young, this is probably what we need to do at 5.
Right.
I may have been able to count to 5 when I was 5. I don't remember. But you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, kids are I think they're a lot smarter than them. Well, they retain.
More than what you think.
They're a lot smarter than we give them credit
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
for a fact. I mean, at Brand New Black, that's, what it's all centered around.
Right.
you know, entrepreneurship was something that I learned early in life, and it's helped me through life.
Right.
So of course I'm going to pass that down in my own household.
Right.
But we don't just teach them entrepreneurship. We teach them the things that are surrounded and that come with being a successful entrepreneur: self-belief, you know, the ability and the knowledge to research things, you know, to uncover things, to go the extra mile, things like that. You know, I teach them all the time. You know, other people will let you down, but you don't let yourself down. It's all out there for you. You just got to figure it out on your own. And you know, sometimes that task can be a little bit tedious, but once you figure one thing out, and I tell my wife, which is something that we tell our kids all the time, and it's just simple. When you get up in the morning, the first thing you should do is make your bed, because that's the first thing that you accomplish today. And that sets off a series of accomplishments. If you can get up in the morning, make your bed, wash your face, brush your teeth. You've done 3 things today. You've accomplished 3 goals today. And there are a series of goals that are going to follow after that. And they'll take that with them for the rest of their life, no matter what field. There you go. No matter what field they work in, whether they're in sports, whether they're in media, whatever. You know, they know that there's a process. There's a checklist that you have to make on your own.
So you give them steps.
Steps. You give them steps, and you got to knock them down.
Well, part of it also is that we got to close the gap. And what I mean by that is it's an understanding gap. It's not a learning gap.
No, it's not.
And it's not the kids. Because I talk to the kids and kids get frustrated. And it's not all the teachers. So I don't like when we overarch, we always go, those kids don't listen, but I'm a great teacher. Or my kids are awesome, their kids are bad.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Right.
What I learned, and I had the best opportunity in learning that, was I have to speak their language.
Exactly.
Kid has
Very
to
important.
understand. I don't have to understand them. They need to understand me.
Right.
So they don't do homework because they're frustrated because there's a lack of understanding. With a lack of understanding, now you're yelling at me.
Right.
So first I'm supposed to be a man, and now you're yelling at me, and you ain't taught me nothing, and I don't understand something. And then on the flip side, I have to be the disciplinarian and the teacher, and now the kid is trying to challenge my discipline.
Right.
That's the gap. It ain't. And then once we start trying to close that gap, then tests start making more sense. Because I learned 2 profound lessons from people 5th grade and under in the past 2 weeks. And I know this, and I learned this from an experience of just those kids. Young men in the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade all go through the same things. And the young man asks, now every man that's listening to this show right now, I want you to really think about this question and then think about when you was in the 5th grade or you was in the 6th grade.
See, can I go back that far?
Yeah, but you gonna feel me on
I know what you
this.
mean.
He said, and I quote, he said, how, when you're feeling like you're growing turning into a man, when you feel like a man physically, how are you supposed to continue to act like a boy?
See, okay. I mean, that's biblical right there. You know what I'm saying? The thing that Paul spoke about. When I was a kid, I felt like a kid, and now I'm a man.
But wait.
Yeah.
It feels like it's new. It's easy to say it when you're 25 or 30. But when you're 11 and your body changes abruptly, and I mean,
puberty starting,
things are happening that you have and it ain't happening to nobody else because you can't see it. It's only you feel like it's only happening to you. But you've been spending a lot of time. Sit down, be quiet, don't talk to me about it. So now you don't really know who to talk to.
Yeah.
So now you're finna learn how to be a man from a bunch of boys that look just like you. So they're gonna tell you all the things that sound better than what it really is. And that is the gap. See, we don't give attention to those kids. But then when we get older, we try to pay attention to old heads.
Well, come on, sorry.
Okay, so
You know what I'm saying?
okay, so you're saying that they're learning from other kids.
Just like I did.
When do we bring in those male figures? When do we bring in?
That
I mean, because even
you
with your
don't-
kids, they're foster kids. Are
We're-
there people around to help them through the process?
Yes, they're everywhere. She can, he does, because here's the thing, they're paying attention.
Okay.
They're paying attention. They're paying attention to the result. I don't want to take up everybody's time, but I learned how to
We
be
got 3 hours.
I learned how to be a man from one of the manliest men I ever met, my dad.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people talk about their dad, but my dad was the epitome of things he said. my dad would say things, and him and my mom still been married for 41 years. My old man is 65, 66. He goes, boy, you a man before you anything else. Now think about that, boy.
No, that's real.
Boy, you a man before you
That's
anything.
first.
Like, hold on, you just called me a boy, and I'm a man before I'm anything else.
Oh, okay.
But that's my old man, right?
Right.
I didn't really realize that when I was
You
young.
his boy,
Or
but
he
you the
would
man.
say stuff like, when you see a good fight, get in it, but make sure it's a good fight. See, I thought he meant a fist fight. I didn't realize till a couple of years ago that he actually meant you need to stand on something. You need to really, if the fight is worth fighting,
That's
you
good.
you stand in there and you die for that.
That's pretty good.
My old man is I revere my old man. Like, he's a Baptist, Southern Baptist preacher. He got all the answers. When he gets to talking to people, he the only one that know it. Right? Let me tell you something. You need to receive this now. I need you. Are you listening? Are you really paying attention? I'm like, Daddy, come on, man. What you want? What you want from me?
Right.
But he stands on it. So he was a pastor at a church, and he stood on something that he actually believed in, and he ended up, basically walking into, a lack of a better term, a meeting he was set up to be in, wasn't invited to, and asked to leave. Right? And it hurt him.
Okay.
We're talking about the same man, and this is how I learned how to be empowered. He did his mom's eulogy.
Mm-hmm.
He did his sister's eulogy,
Right.
and he did his aunt's eulogy. I saw that man cry one time my entire
Right.
life.
So let's get back.
I like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I want to get back to something you were talking about earlier. Enrollment for black men in colleges.
Yes.
I hope I ain't go too far back.
No.
Because college amongst women. I'm gonna give you an example because I think I told you this story, but I'll share it with everybody else. When I was I had my first leadership role, right? Worked for a company called Bell Lang, which eventually became Verizon. So I was always in the HR department, So I was a staffing manager at the time, and I had like 40-some people reporting to me, and amongst 7 states. During that time, I realized that, women weren't moving into management, and the company knew that. So there was this mass lawsuit, right? What is it called when you have a lot of people file this lawsuit against the company?
Class action.
Class action. There it is. Class action lawsuit because the women complained. They put in a complaint. They filed this huge lawsuit, and because the company said, well, because you don't have a degree, you talking about this back in 91, 92, you don't have a degree, you can't move into management. That was their policy. You see that with a lot of schools and universities.
Right.
So what I'm saying is because because to settle the lawsuit, they said, okay, you know something, we're gonna work out a relationship with major universities, in this particular case, the University of Maryland. And they said, well, we can't just open it up just for women, we gotta open it up for all minorities. So it's this organization called DRUM, Diversity Realization Under Management, something like that. I can't remember the acronym, what it meant. I know it's DRUM. That's what I remember. So my VP of HR came to me and said, Ken, you need to apply. I was done with college. I'm like, man, what? I'm done. I ain't trying to go to college for what? Really? I struggled at Howard. Now you're trying to tell me to do something else? But this time it's free. I just had to qualify, maintain a GPA. So this organization opened it up where there were thousands and thousands. And I was one of the guys, but that was like 60% of the women that qualified because you had to be a company, VPs had to approve it before you get part of this thing. 60-something% of the enrollment was women. The men weren't taking advantage of it. I'm like, why?
Why?
Because I don't think college has been other than sports.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Amongst black men. White people, they're taught at a young age. College is important. You need to go to college. That's what you need to do because if your father went there, maybe you probably get some legacy points for following through their own, schools and stuff like that. It's not incentivized for us. So going back to something you said, we need to incentivize young black people, black men, because enrollment is down,
Yes.
on how important it is. There was no guarantee no more. Back in the 60s and 70s, they tried to guarantee. Well, there were some guarantees. You had a college degree.
Right.
You walk into a job, but it was like a manufacturing job.
Right.
Maybe you can become a supervisor instead of being at the ground level. But that doesn't exist anymore today. Which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that for us, for black people, whether you went to college or not, you understand how important it is. to offer incentives. Like you're in middle school.
Right.
You dealing with 12 and 13-year-olds.
Yes.
I think it
Yes.
starts then and beyond.
It does.
Before that.
Actually, I think it starts before that.
Yeah.
I mean, in elementary, showing them options, showing them things that they can do, showing them people in that field,
Right.
giving them exposure to more of life instead of keeping them sheltered for a test.
Right.
You know, but I think it starts way before we get to middle, because once they're in middle school, a lot of times their mind is made up. I'm a pro athlete. No.
Or they want to go into hip hop or something. You know, fast
I'm a
money,
producer.
you know.
Yeah, but they have.
Ain't no wrong production.
No,
either.
there's
That's
nothing
just
wrong
it.
with it. But we
I'm
need
looking for
to
something else.
we need to we need to have their option. Some of these kids are smart.
Well,
I think most of us smart.
yeah,
they're
I
all-
mean, yeah,
they're all smart.
they are. But
You can't suppress them. It's not what we offer them. It's what we ask.
so what
If
do
you
we?
want to be a genius, you just ask questions.
And that's the thing.
So when
that's
somebody
missing,
says, "I
though.
want to be this," well, how you expect to do that?
Oh yeah.
Where have you looked into that?
Yes.
Instead of saying you can be anything you want to be,
No.
or say you want to be that for real, you can be anything you want to be. But the first thing I need you to do is go
So
see
I
what
understand
that
what you're
means.
saying. So and I think that's a good thing what you're saying.
But-
I think we need to challenge these kids. You know what I mean? Because I think that's one of the problems that
It
is
is.
happening in education today.
Yeah.
They're not challenging the right way.
No.
We know the educational system is still dealing from the Industrial Revolution.
Yes.
That's long
Yes.
gone.
Yes.
Put all
Yes.
these kids together by age.
Right.
But everybody don't learn the same way.
Nope.
We know that, right?
Nope.
So all of a sudden, you got kids who learn better when they by themselves. You got kids who learn better in groups. You got some people who need to be in small groups where they, that's why I like that. We looked at this video. What is it? Project-based learning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, I'm saying if I was doing that type of stuff and I was in elementary school, I'd have been a straight A student.
No doubt.
Because, you're sitting there trying to get me to look at some mathematics. I'm like, well, what's the purpose? Equations
So-
and fractions.
So you
I
don't
see-
don't understand,
I don't understand. Am I going to really need it later on in life?
but you don't even understand it.
I don't understand the purpose.
So then you get frustrated.
Yeah,
Yes.
you get irritated and you start acting out.
That's the
That's
ghetto.
So,
it.
and then with us,
That's
our
it.
nature, we're
That's
already
it.
hyper.
That's it.
So-
We're already a little bit beyond everybody else, all the other races and groups that's in the class with us, if they were in the class with us.
Mhm.
So the
And
teachers get
that's what
frustrated.
creates that line to special education and that pipeline to
And
prison.
they think, okay, we're too hyper, so we probably need
Something's
some
wrong
pills
with
and
you.
medication.
Yeah, something's wrong with you.
Because the educators don't understand us.
Exactly.
It's-
Exactly.
that's-
It's not. We don't understand the educators. The educators
But
have
how
to.
does a
Well, it's a
6-year-old
little
understand the
different.
educator?
But you have to get down to their level.
Right, but I do feel that teachers, good teachers, do that.
Yeah.
But-
That's the
But
answer.
you look at the numbers. You got a class. You got a school that has 300 to 500 students. And you might have 60 to 80 teachers, if that many.
You talk. You teach now.
I'll teach now.
What's the biggest class you got?
32.
How many? You got 3 types of kids usually in
Yeah.
class. What are they?
We have I have kinesthetic students, audio.
No. Don't give me the scientific
Okay.
word. You got
Which one?
quiet kids that
Oh,
don't
yeah.
get the work done
I have-
anyway.
Speaking language.
You got the four.
Talkative kids.
You got the 4
I have
kids in the
kids
back that's
that
always
won't-
plotting.
I have lazy kids.
And then you got the
I
middle.
have the
the
very,
middle.
very, very, very smart kids
Yep.
that will do nothing.
You got society
Yeah.
in your classroom.
Yeah.
So it's up to you as the environment person. And I love teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I think teaching and coaching
It's a
are
very
the 2
noble
most noble professions on the planet. Now, I ain't got the most noble people, but they're the 2
Mm-hmm.
most noble professions. But if I'm in there, I'm obligated for at least an hour and a half to try to get them to understand what I want.
Yeah.
Because I've asked multiple kids, did you understand?
No.
I had no clue. She said, talk about this, that, and the other.
No.
And the teacher was right. The teacher knew exactly what they were talking about.
But it's a
But not what the kid
catch-22
was
because
talking about.
you have a curriculum that you have to deliver.
Right.
So you have some control, but it's not as much control. I mean, 'cause I'm sure a lot of you teachers like, I want to teach the way I want to teach. I know these kids,
Right.
but you can't.
And then part of it is because, like I said, a lot of it is based on you have to get certain things done in a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, you leave kids behind.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't mean to, but sometimes you have to keep going. And you try to pick them up on the back end. And we have where we break it up. Well, I have a group that they didn't catch on, so now we're trying to catch them up.
Right.
Then there's another group that moved on, and then we have a group that those smart, lazy ones, or some of them just real smart, and they're like, I don't want to do this
Kinda
because
boring.
yeah, this is boring. It is
I
I think
beneath
after a while you start to do a disservice to the ones who actually come and want to learn.
Exactly.
So-
And that's the hard part.
Absolutely.
I think that we have to
Absolutely.
change the options. We have to change the options that these kids pay attention to. You got to think, man, the school system is no different than the news. It's no different than TV, radio. It's all media based. It's all comes from the same places. So yeah, they gonna want to be LeBron James because that's what they see.
That's
yeah,
what-
they
yeah.
gonna want to be.
Ain't nothing wrong with any of it.
Dez Bryant because
Right.
that's what they see.
You
Yeah, they
wanna
gonna
be
want to be a rapper because that's what are elevated. I think us as parents, teachers, us as aunts, uncles, youth pastors or pastors or anything else, anything dealing with children, I think we have the personal responsibility to present new options and
So
show them.
I like
Yo,
That's
Yes.
absolutely right.
Yo,
Yeah.
I talk to
Yeah.
kids sometimes, and I'm like, all right, who's your favorite? The last group of kids I talked to, who's your favorite basketball player? Of course, everybody.
Right.
LeBron James.
Right.
I'm like, all right, cool. LeBron James is cool. He gets to buy anything he wants. He can go anywhere he wants. All right, cool. But do you know that it's a person that pays LeBron James?
But do you see what you're doing though? You empower it. You see what you're giving them.
That's what I
You
mean.
like,
Yes.
do you know? Have
Right.
you heard? Because now it's important to them.
Right.
It's not, this is what you need to do. This is what it need to look like. Here's, because we get taught, kids get taught at. I know that.
Right, but that's the
Yeah.
definition. That's
And
the
that-
definition of an option.
Right.
Kenny asked me
You give
last show.
something.
We did
Yep.
Kenny show, and he asked me, about the different parenting things that we use in the home. And I told him we stopped telling my 5-year-old and my 1-year-old no.
Right.
We don't
Right.
tell them no,
Right.
Because we don't want them to grow up and hear no and
Make it a
halt.
bad word.
Make it a bad word, halt,
I
and
say
never
no
try
word.
again.
I just
You
say
understand
no
what I'm
ain't no
saying?
bad word.
So we create the option like, okay, if you're somewhere you're not supposed to be, say, hey, you're not supposed to be there. Why are you over there?
Right.
Now you have two things that you can do. You can either correct the problem right away, or you're gonna have to explain to me why you're doing something that you weren't
That you
supposed
had
to
a
do.
voice.
So how do we spread that to parents? How do we spread that mindset? Because a lot of times, if it's starting at
You're not going
home,
to reach
It's-
the parents.
but if
You have a
it's
better
starting,
chance
if
reaching
it's,
the children.
but
I
if
do.
it's starting,
Yeah.
if it's starting
Well-
at home,
Well,
and we, because a lot of times I feel like I'm pushing against a wall
Because
they're
you are.
listening,
But I'll
they're
tell you
listening
why.
to more of what the parents
And
say
you are,
versus
'cause
saying,
You are pushing against a wall.
you know,
ain't nobody asking the parent. Like, listen, if you want the truth, ask and wait. It don't matter what they say. It's what people tell
What do
you.
you mean by that?
Okay, so, hey, you want to go to the store? Now, if I watch you, you might just go because I asked. You might not want to go.
Okay.
But either way, I know. It's
So
just whether or not I'm
who-
paying
when
attention.
who are you asking that question to?
I can ask that to a 6-year-old. I can ask that to a 25-year-old. But if you've never allowed to say nothing when you're young,
Right.
you're always feeling questioned
Oh,
when
okay.
you're old.
I see where you're going. Okay.
So the parents can fix it. The parents, because I'm the mama, ain't the answer.
no.
Or because let me go backwards.
What Kenny is saying,
best-
that's
we're saying the
hard
same
because
thing,
she's
yeah.
saying, because I'm the mama, because her mama told her,
So
because I'm the mama.
So flip the
Right.
mirror.
There you go.
So if you didn't like it, I don't like being yelled at. Now back to my old man. My old man just had an extra loud booming voice. Close the door, turn off the light, do this, do that. And we was over there so long, people were like, man, why your old man so mean?
Right.
That's just how he is. But you knew he was serious when he went, come here, boy.
When he got
Right.
quiet.
And that was
when
the
he got
tone.
quiet.
So it was one of them things. We
So that
always had a
sounds like
voice.
that
and-
sounds
and
like
there was a
that
line.
sounds like which is helpful discipline. It's discipline, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way your
Mhm.
father is a
And-
disciplinarian.
Just
But
like
what
you're
she's
saying.
dealing with, these kids are coming to her with all
Guards
this
up.
stuff, and
Mhm.
society's put so much
Yes.
in your lap, just like if you do a police officer.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
police officers get a bad name, we know, but it's not all of them. We know it's just a
Mhm.
couple that makes it bad for everybody. They got to be social workers,
Right.
They got to be law enforcement officers, they got to
Right.
be protective officers.
Mhm.
It's so many jobs they have to do. They got to be negotiators when there's disputes in the home.
Right.
That's too much,
hard.
but that's just the society we live in,
Yeah.
right?
It is.
So in your particular case,
Mhm.
and we've seen stories and documentaries and people reaching out to parents in different communities. It's a catch-22. So you
It
have
is.
to work with what you have.
And it's not so much, for me, it's not working with what I have, but I know we're trying to produce productive citizens for society.
Right.
And producing productive citizens of
It's
society
hard.
is a community
It's hard.
effort.
So how do you get the community involved?
Exactly.
That's the question.
That's my question.
I'm helping
How-
you answer
yeah.
Now I've seen. Now look,
Because I know
yeah,
you're foster care,
Man, we
and
sit
you
down.
see,
Yeah.
yes,
we sit down at night, and sometimes she's just overwhelmed because she cares about these kids and she sees the potential in these kids.
Exactly.
But she doesn't have the other
The
adults
adults.
around
Can I
her
ask you a
children,
question?
it's the adults.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know those kids' names?
Yeah, right off the bat.
That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Because it.
Explain that.
Okay. That's
I know
how
where
we,
you are.
you know where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like that foster kid, that kid, her kid, now that kid has a name. So that kid's only important when it becomes an actual kid.
oh yeah,
It's, so
yeah, and the
how-
kids know that because they'll ask you quick, "What's my name?
right. But
What's my name?"
this is how we do it. Nothing happens overnight. I saw something somewhere I read where if a lot of people in the service industry, they work around people all day and nobody ever sees them. That meant a lot to me. So
Right.
when I see somebody at a cash register, or I see somebody at a drive-through, or when I would be in a restaurant, what's your name? How's your day? So and so. Everything changes. Service changes. When that person doesn't have a name, that person, it is like an extra in the
Yeah,
movie. It's
it's
like
nothing.
he got shot, he got blew
Yeah.
up. Nobody cares about them. They're like, whoa, 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 with the main character. So we got to make those kids the main character or the co-star in their movie.
Right.
Yes.
In the classroom, the teacher should just control the
you
environment.
should just facilitate.
Just control the
Facilitate.
You
environment.
facil-
But I'm gonna say this, Dr. Linda Moore, shout out to Dr. Linda Moore at TCU. I was a freshman at TCU, and she said something to me that resonated with me. She said, what happens when a kid walks in your classroom and he slams his book down, he seems so disrespectful, and he's cussing? What you gonna do? And smart ass, hot mouth Greg Wall said, I'm gonna look at him and say, hey, take your ass out of here until you get your attitude together.
Right.
You know what she looked at me and said? So the one person that he's supposed to trust gonna turn him away.
Yeah.
Yep.
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 Yeah. Yeah. I
They
can see
they
that.
depend on the other, and I guess that's my thing. We're talking about empowerment. We're talking about empowering young people and bringing them up in this society. But how are we as adults? Because this is just the 5 of us.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's 20 behind us that's not doing the same thing.
But it's 25 listening that's gonna make a change or two.
I mean, you're saying it's a trickle down. I mean, yeah.
It ain't trickle down.
And-
It's a cultural
Well,
that has to grow into
So
something.
I've been saying this for a while.
Yeah.
I may have said it on the show. I believe in community socialization, where people who are clustered together for any period of time, whether it's the students in the school,
Right.
they tend to emulate each other.
Exactly.
Adults do it too.
Exactly.
We do it with family members. We start acting like our family members. We know they're doing some bullshit.
Right.
So we start to act just like them until we start to step away and do
Right.
something different. But
Because we saw something different.
we just want something different.
We were shown something different.
Well, I can speak for my family. My family was a good family, but they were content with where they were.
Right.
I had this ambition that, I don't want to live like this for the rest of my life. I want more. I want ownership. I want entrepreneurship. My family is good with working for somebody else. That's fine for them, but it wasn't for me. So being in that community, I was afraid that I was going to be that guy. I was so afraid. So I ran, you know what I'm saying? Trying to establish my own life, my own identity. Because when it comes down to it, everything that we're talking about right now, everything starts within,
Yes.
in our own shell, right?
Yes.
Kids have to be inspired, right? I believe in inspiring kids to do things, positive things. And when they see that, doing this positive thing ain't that bad. I see my friends out here doing this stupid, dumb stuff. I'd rather just be the good guy and then not be afraid of the peer pressure and all this type of thing that we all probably experienced at some point in our life. Or
Right.
knew someone else that was under pressure.
Right.
But when you're self-assured, and you're teaching your kids to be self-assured, you know what I'm saying? You're working with kids and you helping them become self-assured. Once you got that, you're not gonna allow that bullshit in this fact. It's hard. As quick as you was without it.
Well, the way, and I know that's why I keep asking y'all questions because I admire what you guys do.
Thank you.
The number one thing y'all need is them to trust you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
First.
definitely.
And that's like, that's what I
They ain't gonna
mean.
listen to them, trust me.
So here's the thing.
I'm gonna fight you.
You only, both of y'all have or had parents. You only knew your dad as dad. So your dad missed all that stuff you about to go through. That's hard to comprehend. But your homeboy, who a little bit bigger, who started a little bit early, a little bit faster, so he got the cuter girls, everybody. He got a little more hair on his face.
Yeah, man.
But he's the guy that's paying attention to you.
Right.
Because your dad is at work. Your dad, he asks you shortly about your day. Like, I mean, I'm a guy. The people who empower me are all guys who actually show love to the guys I hung around.
Right.
Shout out to Bob Ford, James Carroll, Duck Taylor, Ronald Woodson. Like, those guys, great. They made sure their kids
Right.
and us
Right.
got, if anything, learn how to be a man. If anything, like, they didn't beat up women.
I mean, let me ask you
You
this.
see what I'm saying?
And this is if anybody wants to answer. But for me, that term you just said, learn how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't learn how to be a man if you're not around any. At least not no positive ones, right? So you're gonna learn how this man does.
Right.
Right? Men and women,
Mhm.
girls and boys, and not just
Right.
men.
Mhm.
So to say that
Yeah,
so openly,
yeah.
without a lot of explanation, because if that child is listening, okay, be a man, so what does that mean? And then you walk away.
Exactly.
Have a conversation behind that,
Right.
explaining what that means to be a man.
That's
Being responsible.
absolutely
You know what I'm
right.
saying? And that responsibility starts at a young age. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
What you guys are doing with your
Mhm.
5-year-old, I'm sure you will with your one,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And the other one as well.
Of course.
So it's like, but we go through phases in our lives where we got to say, okay, this is the time for me to do the right thing by the people who I'm closest to.
Because
Right?
now we know.
Because we didn't, right, because now we know. We didn't know before.
Yeah.
We thought we knew. We thought that wasn't working. I'm like, hold up. Nobody's moving in a positive direction because of my actions. You know what I'm saying? Now that I'm this better guy,
Mhm.
now Kenny's this better guy, at least he think he is.
Yeah.
And now he's empowering other people, you know what I'm saying? And you see it because, not that you know what I said, but now you're going into yourself, going to that self again and saying, you know something, I can do better than I was because this guy over here, he broke and he's starting this other shit. Well, how is he doing this with no money? You know what I'm saying? It's just because I'm empowered
Mhm.
and I'm driven and I'm motivated because I had to because I was hungry. So
So-
now you're witnessing it.
Was you taught that or did you learn that?
It was both.
Was you,
The
you
trial
wasn't
and error
taught
we
that in
spoke
the
on
home? You
earlier.
learned that, right?
I wasn't taught this at home.
The way y'all was y'all taught that or did y'all learn that?
No, this is something that we learned
Adapt.
Over time, you learn like with
Okay,
experience.
so-
you want to know what that means,
No,
right?
no,
okay.
not necessarily. I understand the learning part,
Mm-hmm.
but we are losing ground. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
No, you being honest.
We're losing ground if you're saying, I'm just making sure I heard what you're saying. You're saying that young men are learning from other young men how to be a man.
No, boys are learning from boys.
Boys are learning
Same
from
thing.
boys.
What a man
Yes.
is supposed to
What
act
a man
like.
is supposed to do
Listen,
when
when I-
they're not getting it
Mhm.
the correct way themselves. And so a lot of black men are losing ground because
They start
there's
at
a
2.
gap.
When
They
they're
start too
20,
late.
they start at 2 years old.
they start too late.
It's almost like learning a new language.
Yes. And so you're trying to reprogram yourself
Yeah.
at 25 and catch up to where
Which can happen.
it can happen. Yeah, I'm not saying
But
it can't
sometimes,
happen.
unfortunately, people
Things
have to get
happen.
incarcerated. But they have to,
That's what I was going to.
Well,
So they can
That's what I was
themselves.
going to.
Or some traumatic thing has
Right.
to happen. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
this ain't the right.
To realize.
That's exactly what I was
No.
getting to. Yeah.
it's the understanding of the value. I asked some cats on my Facebook page, what are the top 3 values that a man should have? A lot of them said love, safety, and respect, or integrity.
And it's probably
respect.
different for everybody.
But respect,
Right.
respect was always in people's top 3.
Yeah.
But most of us, when you're young, you taught don't disrespect.
Right.
You taught in order to get respect, you got to give respect. Nobody really tells you what that is. That just means don't let people yell at you. Don't let people call you out your name. I ain't heard nothing positive in that yet, right? Don't let people do this to you. Somebody try to handle you. You got to do this, this, and this. So anytime somebody challenge you, you think they're disrespectful. Anytime somebody don't like your music or your style, they hate me and you disrespectful. So we don't really understand what that means. I didn't learn actually what disrespect was. I was like 25. Like respect is the number one thing for me. And
Well, if you're speaking on respect,
Yeah.
for me, it was self-respect. How do I respect
that
myself?
falls all into that.
Respect my
Yeah.
body. Respect, just give respect to the people around you, even your enemies, the people you know who don't like you. Because I'm the type of guy, if I know you don't like me, I'm coming saying, hey,
But
what's
how
up?
many of us got real enemies? That people actually
I mean-
want to cause us harm.
I mean,
Like
most
you
enemies,
specific.
probably most people's enemies, you don't know who they are. They
You-
just hate you from some other
But
distance. something like
that doesn't hate.
Right.
I'm talking about like
Well-
somebody that you concern. You open your door, you know what it look like. I'm like, we don't
Right.
really have a lot of real enemies.
Right. And I think we got off topic a little bit.
No,
No, I'm
It's all
thinking.
relative.
Yeah, because I'm
Okay.
thinking about how.
I need to shut up and stop.
No,
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm thinking about what I'm writing down is how you guys are talking about men and things that you learned and how you learned it and how you learned at 25 and blah blah blah. But how do we, since the kids are empowered through sports, we have a lot of kids nowadays that are entrepreneurs.
Right.
They're coming out
Yes.
straight
That's
up
our generation.
and saying, "I am not
And
working
they
for
were
anyone."
shown that.
Yes, I
Yeah.
am not working for anyone. Miss Thomas, what do I need to do so that I don't work with anyone? How do I get my own business started?
Go find out how money works.
Yeah, and that's what we're showing them. So, and I'm thinking about how you both have what a lot of kids are looking for, but how do we spread this out further? How do we get this message out so that it's going out where everyone has this?
The easiest way is to be the example first.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, I think that you'll start to attract people, you know what I'm saying, that just want to know, how'd you do this? What did you do?
But I don't live in a neighborhood that has any examples.
Well, yes, you do. There's a lot of Mexicans around there that's doing their own thing. They're doing them
That's
carpentry
true.
work. These are
That's
people,
true.
these are independent people already because they can't get a job,
Mhm.
a regular job, because one, they probably have language barriers, they
Mm-hmm.
probably have legal documents.
Correct?
So they're finding ways to make money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the entrepreneurship, even though you're going out doing landscape. I hate to say that, I'm stereotyping about the landscaping and carpentry
No, but it's
work
true.
and painting and
It's
all that
true.
stuff. Those are people, craftsmen, that other people are watching them doing. So they can ask those questions. Well, how did you get these people to give you the money?
Right.
Or give you this contract or agree to let you come and do this?
Right.
You make people down at Home Depot just sitting there waiting for people to come pick them up. Those are entrepreneurs,
Yes.
skilled people because they're
Yes.
doing it for so long. You know.
Yes.
So I mean, there are a lot of examples of things happening. But if we're going to do, if somebody asks me that question, that's what I'm gonna tell them.
Well-
Some little 18-year-old or 14-year-old say, "Well, how do I become an entrepreneur?" Go talk to some of the people who are. Well, who are they? Look around. And
I
stop
think the
pointing, because they may
first,
not look at it that way.
I think the first step is changing the criteria
Yeah.
of manhood.
Yeah.
I think that the criteria and the
That's a whole
definition
show.
of the
We
whole
don't have that
thing.
show. We're gonna be having on the spot show talking about that.
I think the criteria in the code and the creed that has been presented to the youth is all wrong. I think it's skewed all wrong, and I think it's too generalized, and I think it's too broad. I think that we have to sit down with other like-minded men
Right.
and put together things, and I think that trauma and vulnerability should be at the top of the list. I think that a lot of our kids go the wrong way because they don't know how to unpack their feelings,
Yeah.
and they think that it makes them look weak.
Exactly.
And there, you either gonna fall into two places. You either gonna become a beta male and you're gonna bag away, or you're gonna become
The alpha.
the super alpha, which
Yeah.
leads you to the gangster
Yeah.
and all of that because you're trying to over exude yourself because you're covering up how you really feel.
Yeah.
When you really should just be honest and vulnerable. If you're jealous, jealousy is a natural emotion. It's a natural
Right.
feeling. If you're human,
Right.
you get jealous from time to time. That's
Right.
not where you're wrong at. Where
Right.
you're wrong
Right.
at is the act. When you act on the jealousy,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
when you wrong and you need to unpack
That's
that
funny because
feeling.
we had a show about last year talking about the difference between jealousy
Jealousy
and
and
envy.
Exactly.
So, well, anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But all of those things, all of those things are human
Fantastic.
emotions. They're human traits. They're things that men and women go through. I think that black men, especially, haven't been taught how to unpack their feelings.
That's
And
good.
we haven't been taught how to say, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling," and say that to my brother or my friend or my
And don't be
opposition.
responsible for anybody.
But,
There you go.
but we haven't
Sorry for that out there.
we haven't been taught that because we gotta understand where that comes from and why that comes.
So the root
Suppressing
cause-
it. Suppressing it.
It's not
It's
necessarily
suppre-
it's not suppressing.
Yeah, I don't think it started.
Then what is it?
It's protecting it, and it's a big difference. Because listen, black men regardless of what people say, and anybody on earth that knows me knows color is one of the last places I look.
Right.
Right.
But my nephews are black men.
Right. Right.
We have a different situation
Mm-hmm.
in this land.
Yeah.
That we have to bring the temperature down. We
Right.
have to lighten the room. We still have to be tough, but at the same time, we have to try to make our own decisions. And then you have to go along with what you think is right or what the church told you was right. So it's a whole bunch of things that go into that. And you can't trust that whatever you give somebody to hold safe is going to keep that safe, because you watch people
Right.
talk about other people in your family. Like,
Right.
you watching this.
Right.
We
Right.
can never
That's-
forget people are watching this.
Oh, yeah.
Like I say words that I watch
40,000 people
people
right
say.
now watching the show.
You know what I'm saying? So what you said makes so much sense. Like, in order to be, I think vulnerability is like Superman is vulnerable. The rest of them are scared. The man standing in front of everything with his chest out, that he's the most vulnerable human being. We just gotta show him how to keep their chest out.
Yeah.
So I love what you said right there. My biggest thing though, entrepreneur, what does that mean? Like what? Because they hear it and they think money. When I hear entrepreneur, when people hear, they think money, not a lot of work, fame, everybody knows.
Nah, it's actually
You
the
know.
exact opposite.
It's the
You
opposite.
know that,
Right.
though.
Right.
It's
I
not-
know
it's
that.
not- you know, I'm
You
an
know what I'm
entrepreneur. I'm
saying?
an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since probably my teens.
Right.
We know.
Sometimes it's money, but a lot of the times it's not, because I have to spend my money to
Right.
make some money.
How you know
know what
that?
I'm saying? It's trial and error, bro. You gotta get out here and you gotta jump off the porch.
So
It's
I
gotta be
think-
something
We
that
had
you
a
want.
couple of shows.
What I
talking about
think-
just that.
I think what you just said is that's the gap, that's the difference. You went from not being able to read, well, you went from being killed for attempting to read to not being able to read to now having to read with terrible books to now being able to read anything on the planet you can read.
And
It's
I won't- and now I
accelerated
won't
the
read
curve.
because it's too accessible to me.
Because
So,
now
right.
it's the expectation, but it ain't that they won't read, it's that they're introduced negatively to reading.
Yeah. That's true.
It's not.
That's true.
I
And
ask
the reading
kids,
that's
define the word consequence. What's a consequence?
And a reaction almost to an action.
You see how that's an entrepreneur, that's somebody who's seen things differently.
I
You
would
go,
say something
go
different.
to a fifth grade class and the consequence, that's something you get in trouble for. Like when
Yeah.
you do something bad,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
not a consequence. What's discipline? That's whenever you get a whooping for doing something bad. No,
Right.
no.
Well, they just associating it with life
'Cause that's the
experience.
Right.
gap.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
what I mean. And your life experience is, wait, bro, you can be super successful, because that's not what that means.
Yeah.
7% of communication is verbal. 55% is body. 38% is vocal. So you told me everything I need to know when you went, You didn't know that, but you believe that. That's exactly what you said when you
I
went,
think that going to your point again, and yours too, Kenny, I think that we have to present more of an optimistic mindset
Yeah.
to these kids.
Right.
Because the pessimistic kind of mindset, they're gonna approach that's why they're gonna say, well, when you get in trouble, because it's a negative mindset that they coming up with. But I'm a very optimistic person. I can find the bright and the silver lining in almost
You
any
understand
situation.
Right.
Understand.
Because I know that's the only way that you can make it through a situation. You know what I'm saying?
What's the alternative?
What's the alternative?
fall
You gonna
under
to
it?
fall into it? Like
Right.
you're not gonna gain anything from that.
or you got the solution, and the solution may suck or it may be great, but that's the process. That's the part, that's the gap. So you're right. You got it between optimism and pessimism is the actual solution.
Well, it's just the start. It's like
Right.
You got where you are,
You know?
and then you got where you trying to go.
But-
and then you get here, and you turn. It's gonna be trials and tribulations. It's gonna be
No
hills.
doubt.
It's gonna be letdowns. But then you gotta look. You gotta say, all right, man. I got further to go backwards than I do to get to my actual destination. And most of us, not just kids, most of us as adults don't really understand it.
And you
Whatever
know
you
something?
shoot.
I want to comment on something because our mutual friend Natasha.
Yeah.
Her and I had a conversation years ago, and she's pretty smart, right? But she said something to me, and I totally agreed. It never left my head. She said, "I never fail." Because when you start
Yeah.
allowing that word into your vocabulary,
Yep.
and I had to think on that. I played on that one for a while. I
Yeah.
started thinking, I never failed.
It's just
Oh, you know
opportunity.
something?
That's it.
It's another
There's
opportunity.
setbacks. I
Yeah.
had plenty of
To me,
setbacks,
of
but
course.
they're not
Yeah.
failures. If it's
No.
a failure, to me, it's a hard stop.
But that's the, like,
So
That's a
I-
quick.
yeah,
A failure is a quick.
it's done.
Yes.
No, I'm
If it's a
not-
loss, then it's a lesson. You
Yeah,
learn from it.
exactly.
That's it.
but the
Exactly.
thing is, we know that now, and that's the thing. We actually think these kids got to go through that. They don't. What I'm saying is, you've already done the trial and made the error. You already took the time to cut the shortcut. That's why you're cutting the shortcut. We gotta they don't need to go through the trial and error. It's like, you can ask the same question with the same words 2 ways, and they mean 2 totally different things.
Exactly.
What, the biggest dream you got in your life, I want to go build a spaceship. I can say, how you think you're going to do that? Or I can say,
How do you plan to do that?
how you plan to do that?
Oh, let's sit
Or,
down and talk
how
about it.
you think you're going to do that?
Let's
Talk
sit
to
down
me
and talk
about
about it. Let's figure out how we can do
Because
this.
now those words went, and depending on who they came from,
Right.
if they come from somebody you trust, or that if they come
Right.
from an astronaut, or if they come from that teacher,
Or
you're
just-
not
or just everyday
going
person
to
that you
plan
know.
to do that.
You know, that was an idea you shared it with somebody you know. It ain't got to be no professional in that area.
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I said I want to be a doctor, ain't no doctors around me right now.
Right.
But I want to be a doctor because I think I want to be able to provide a service to people.
Again.
So now, what do? I talk to somebody I trust. The person I'm talking to might be a trash man.
How many kids know that?
I mean, I don't know, but I'm
It-
saying,
that's-
honestly, it's
you
not
know.
many students kids that know who to go talk to.
right. But
But
you talk to the next person that's closest to you,
a lot of them don't know
And then
that.
some- but sometimes
you,
that person-
you have to push them.
and that person may shoot him down. Man, that's stupid.
Yeah,
Why
no,
would
you
do that?
keep telling them, keep
You know,
going, keep
Malcolm
going.
X even said it
Or
to
bring
his
it
kid.
to
He wanted to be an accountant, and
Yeah.
they told him, no, you know,
You can be a
You
carpenter.
can be a carpenter.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So,
y'all,
but
I
I'm
hate
sure
to-
they hear it all the time. Well, I'm sorry.
I hate to cut you off, but
I know.
that's our
And you know something?
time.
We didn't even ask people to call in.
I
either,
know,
so
that's our time,
that's
y'all.
my bad.
All right, we are overtime. Unfortunately,
OT.
that was a quick hour, huh?
I know, right?
It was a quick hour. But y'all, we had this conversation was great. We're gonna have to, we're gonna have to continue this conversation. Continue this
Yeah,
conversation.
that's why
I know,
that's it.
for everything. So you know what? One good thing that I took out of this, and I love what you said, how males have to unpack their feelings
Yeah.
and giving them that optimistic view of life.
Right.
You know, because how many times do we not give males that opportunity to do that? We push it to the side,
But we don't recognize
or we
it.
don't recognize it. Yeah,
Or tell them
yeah,
they ain't supposed to act like that.
yeah. Put that like that. Yeah, exactly. But I want to end on this note. You know, I want you guys to think about your kids and remember it's taking a community to raise your kids. Not just you, me, myself, and I, and my two, but a community to get what we need to get and to close this gap that we have. This large gap of where we could be and where we should be. So, I want you guys have to plug your book real quick. Plug your book. Plug your book.
Landon's Lemonade Stand. Brand new book. It's been out. I'll let Wifey go into the details.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Landon's Lemonade
Yeah.
Stand. It's a book about self-belief, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy. It's available on all major book platforms, but you can get it directly from us at Brand New Black at brandnewblackinc.com. You can get directly from us, and we can ship it out to you.
Sold out.
I know. Go get it.
I'm buying me 50.
Good. I bought two so far. And Mr. Walls, tell
Yes,
us
ma'am.
about your
Upcoming ventures.
upcoming ventures and what you got going on.
As you can see, I talk a lot when I get a chance to talk. No, we have a show I'm really excited about that starts tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Beyond the Noise. We are really going to work diligently to get beyond
Right
the
here.
noise. We're going to be right here. We're going to talk about the gaps, what that process is, what kind of people you can go to for that kind of information, things that you need to know in order to keep on going. So, especially in sports, fitness, wellness, health, nutrition, all the areas that we live in. I got a tremendous team, so I'll come in here and talk about them a lot. And we're right over there in Euless. That performance experience, we're still doing a little bit of one-on-one in today's climate. Part of it is because you need to do that in order to not be stuck in the hospital in today's climate. And that's something that we may end up discussing tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys listening. Hopefully I ain't too boring. And
Well, definitely
have
not
a good
that.
time.
Can't worry about more.
Yeah. All right, so I want you to go visit this website, www.mentoring.org and www.mentoring.org, and you can find someone that's mentoring in your local area, and it also helps you to start a mentoring organization, or it can help you if you want to volunteer your time. If you know you are a person that has something positive to give, go ahead and go to that website, join, and go out there and be great. Now.
Follow us on Facebook at GetBehindTheNoise.com. Follow us on Facebook at GetBehindTheNoise.
Yes, Get Behind the Noise.
Yeah.
All right, I want to thank Terry, my
Get beyond the
producer,
noise, sorry.
and Brandon for engineering
Pushing
today,
the buttons.
pushing them buttons
Push the
back
buttons
there.
back there.
And we will see you.
Well, hold up. I got to plug about KMWI meeting now.
Okay,
You know,
go
we-
ahead.
We just skip meeting.
Go
We just
ahead,
be all
go
out.
ahead,
No,
go
we got
ahead.
some great shows coming up,
Yes.
especially this one tomorrow.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, and we have a lot of shows. We're going to have a new website coming real soon.
Real soon.
We're going to have a complete schedule. It's changing.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
adding stuff to it, like saying every couple of weeks. So glad to have Beyond the Noise. I'm excited about your show, man. You know, I'm really excited about your show, and I'm ready to be inspired even more. This show is a great show. Teachers are talking. You actually stretch the limit. You're going beyond your job a little bit, but that's okay. You know, because
Right.
you know that's what we're about around here.
Educating.
We're gonna have a part 2 on the spot. We're gonna bring some teams on, talk about what it's like being raised by black parents.
Yes.
That's part 2 of that show. We got a show coming up on Wednesday, which is Norm Wright. It's gonna be a really fantastic, funny, entertaining show. You know, and then we got, you know, we also got right behind me. You guys can see we got Women of Esteem. You know, it's faith-based. The woman is powerful. She has a strong, powerful message. She's very positive. We love her. And she roller skates like me, so we all live it up in the same spot. You know, we got a lot of things coming up, you know, within the next month or so. So stand by, look for the changes, new website, new activity, you know, more engineering going on. So anybody looking to be an engineer, let me know.
Come on
I'll let
down,
the boy
come on down,
because
come on down.
I got some stuff for you. So I'm sorry, I'll leave it back to you. Yeah,
Oh,
plug
just,
it down.
you good?
I'm
You
good.
finished?
I got most of it.
You sure? Okay, you got it. Y'all,